Chapter 1. The Beach Share House, 2013 Old South Head Road. I love playing with my dog Jake, I thought. But now I'm going to study at the University of Sydney, and I'm going to live hours away from here in the big city. How am I going to live without Jake? I was in my room in the country town of Wagga Wagga, with my backpack on the bed in front of me. I slowly put my last shirt into my backpack, and then I was ready to leave for the train station. Just then, there was a phone call. Mum answered it. "Chris, it's Auntie Marge on the phone," she called. I didn't want to talk to Marge. "Hello, Auntie," I said when I got to the phone. "Chrissy!" she cried. I don't like the name Chrissy. That's a girl's name. My name is Chris. "You're coming to Sydney," your mother says. "You can come and live with me. I have 2 rooms, and I live near the university. What do you think?" "Well, thanks, Auntie Marge, but I'm staying at a friend's house when I arrive," I said quickly. It wasn't true. "Can I call you next week?" "Of course. I'm very excited about your visit." I wasn't excited. I wanted to meet girls and go drinking in Sydney. I didn't want to visit my auntie. At the train station, my mum cried when I said goodbye. "Bye, mate. Don't forget to go to Bondi Beach. The beautiful girls will go there," my big brother Mike said. I said goodbye to them and to my dog Jake. Then I got on the train. I was ready for my new life in Sydney. Sydney was big. There were a lot more people there than in Wagga Wagga. I took a taxi to Bondi Beach. What a beautiful place. There were a lot of nice girls on the beach too. I wanted to live there. I soon found a backpackers by the beach for the night. The next morning, I began looking for my new home in Bondi. I bought a newspaper and looked at the ads, but the flats in Bondi were very expensive. I needed a share house. I soon found an interesting ad. It said, "Near the beach, 2 young guys with a share house are looking for a 3rd guy. $120 a week. Call Josh on 9392-4979. I rang the number at once. "Hi, mate," I said. "I saw your ad in the newspaper. I'm looking for a share house. My name's Chris." "Hello, I'm Josh." "Well, you can move in here with Addie and me at 2013 Old South Head Road." So I went to meet Josh and Addie. Their flat was really nice. They had a big television in the front room, and they were nice guys too. "I'm going to study at the university," I said. "Are you students?" "Nah, mate," smiled Josh. "We work." "Sometimes, but not often," laughed Addie. "We like surfing, meeting girls, and drinking with our friends." Josh and Addie gave me the biggest room. From my window, I could see the beach. That night, Josh, Addie, and I went out to a pub. I met lots of their friends and drank lots of beer. At the pub, Josh talked quietly with one of his friends, Rodney. "Can you do some work for me later tonight?" asked Rodney. "What are you two talking about?" I asked. "Oh, nothing, mate," said Josh. We all had a good night, I think. Josh, Addie, and I left the pub and went back to the share house very late. I went to bed at once, and I don't remember very much of the night because of all the beer. The next morning, I was in bed when I heard a noise at the front door. Someone knocked again and again, and two people called, "Hello there! Open up!" The noise didn't stop, so I went to the front door and opened it. It was the police. "Are Joshua Warnick or Adrian Hughes here?" one of the police officers asked me. "Yes, they are," I said. "Come in." Josh and Addie came out and spoke to the police. I went quickly back to my room. I sat next to my door and listened. "Are you boys stealing things again?" one of the police officers asked. "Of course not," Josh answered. "Stealing," I thought. No, that can't be true. Josh and Addie are nice guys. But then I thought again. Wait a minute. At the pub, Rodney and Josh talked about doing some work later that night. Oh no! Josh and Addie aren't nice guys. They're stealing things from people's houses. "We'd like to look through your flat," one of the police officers said. "Do you have a search warrant?" Josh asked. "Yes, we do," the police officer said. "Wait here." The police went into Josh's and Addie's rooms. Then one of the officers came into my room. He looked under the bed, here and there, and went out again. I went after him into the front room. "What's happening?" I asked. The police stood with bags in their hands. In the bags, there were expensive watches, mobile phones, and money. I looked at Josh and Addie. "Sorry, mate," said Josh. Then he spoke to the police. "Chris is new in Sydney. He moved in with us yesterday," he said. "He knows nothing about all this." So the police took Josh and Addie away in the police car. And because I didn't have the money to live there alone, that was the end of the share house in Old South Head Road. Where could I live now? Chapter 2. The Zoo Share House, 618 Edward Street. I went back to the backpackers that night. The next morning, I went to the uni. That's short for university in Australian English. I felt very excited. I love learning new things, and I wanted to learn about Aboriginal languages. There are lots of them. Mum and Dad lived with the Aborigines in the Northern Territory before I was born. That's in the north of Australia, and lots of Aborigines live there. Mum and Dad told me lots of interesting stories about them when I was young. On my first day of uni, I met all the students, and we talked. We didn't have classes. I met a nice guy, Fabio, from Italy. He spoke English well. I'm looking for a share house, I told him. We went to the uni cafe and looked at sharehouse ads there. Here's a great ad, said Fabio. It was for a house with a garden. Only one man lived there. I'm looking for a student to live with me, said the ad. I called at once. His name's Bruce, and I'm meeting him tonight, I told Fabio. After uni, I ate dinner at the backpackers. Then I walked to Bruce's house. It was big and beautiful. I knocked on the front door and waited. After some time, Bruce opened the door. He was a 40-year-old man. Come in, he said. He looked very carefully at my shirt. Do you always wear old shirts? He asked. Before I could answer, he suddenly said, And where did you get those dirty shoes? Then he smiled and said, Would you like some wine? Do you have Coke or beer? I asked. He left the room, and I sat and waited. There were lots of art books and pictures in the room. When Bruce came back, he had a bottle of wine in his hand. He gave me some, but I didn't drink it. What do you think of Picasso's work? He asked. Who's he? I asked. Don't you know? He said. He looked angry. What work do you do? I asked quickly. I wanted to talk about something different. I teach art at the University of Sydney. Suddenly he looked at his watch. Is that the time? He said. He stood up and walked to the door. I'm sorry, Chris, but more people are coming to see my house tonight. Don't call me. I can call you, he said. He opened the door and I walked out. He didn't like me. Was it because I didn't know much about art? Or I didn't drink wine. Or perhaps he wanted a housemate with more expensive shoes and shirts. That night, Mum called me on my mobile phone. "Hello, Chris. Did you find a share house?" "No, I'm staying at the Backpackers tonight again. Can I call you tomorrow?" I didn't want to tell Mum about Josh and Addie. The next day, I saw a new ad in the uni cafe. "Looking for a share house? Do you like animals? Please call Cara on 9356-7782. I thought about my dog, Jake. "Perhaps Cara has a dog," I said. That afternoon, I called her. After I left uni, I went to meet her at her house. There, I met her dog, Toby. He was great. Cara knew a lot about animals because she worked at Taronga Park Zoo. Her house was nice, and my room was big. "Well, do you want to move in?" she asked. I moved my things from the Backpackers that night. I played with Toby for some time in the garden. After that, I felt tired, so I went to bed. The next day, I called Mum. I told her my new address. When we finished talking, I ate my breakfast. Suddenly, I felt something on my leg under the table. What was it? I looked under the table. "What the?" I cried. There, on my leg, was a big lizard. I hate lizards. Cara ran into the room. "What's the matter?" she asked. I looked down at the lizard on my leg. "What's that?" I cried. "Oh, it's only Bessie. She's a blue-tongued lizard." "Take it away," I cried. "Hey, don't make all that noise. Bessie's afraid now, and all she wanted was to be your friend," Cara said. She took the lizard in her hands and put it into a box. I ran into my room and closed the door behind me. Then I saw them. There were 2 more lizards on my bed. I took my backpack and all my things and I ran out of the house. From the front door, Cara called, "Chris, come back. Don't be afraid. They're only lizards." But I couldn't go back. Chapter 3. A Band of Dirty Housemates. 223 Beach Road. I went back to the Backpackers again. The next morning, I met Fabio at the uni cafe. I told him about Cara and the lizards. "So now I need a new share house," I said. Just then, 2 girls arrived and said hello. "These are my friends, Lisa and Karen," said Fabio. "The 3 of us play music in a band." "Fabio's the singer," said Lisa. "Do you want to be in our band?" asked Karen. "We want someone to play the guitar," Lisa said. "Look, I love music, but I can't play the guitar. I'm sorry." "Chris is looking for a share house," Fabio said. "Hey, our housemate, Susan, is going to Europe today," said Karen. "You can have her room." "Okay," I said, but then I thought of something. "Wait a minute. Do you have any animals?" I asked. "No, only us," Lisa and Karen said, and they laughed. "Okay, but do you steal things?" "No, we don't," the 2 of them cried. "Do you have any more questions?" asked Karen. "One more, yes. Can I move in today?" "After 5 o'clock this afternoon, okay?" said Karen. Lisa wrote their address on my hand and they said goodbye. "Thanks, Fabio," I said. "You're a good friend." Then we went into class. When I arrived at the backpackers, I found 3 boxes from Mum there for me. I opened them quickly, but they were only things to eat. What does Mum think? There aren't any supermarkets in Sydney? I couldn't carry the boxes and my backpack, so I called Fabio. "Can you help me move my things?" I asked. "Yes, of course," said Fabio. When we arrived, I looked carefully at Lisa and Karen's house. "It's very dirty," I said. "Oh, don't worry about that," said Fabio. "That's Susan." Fabio and I put my backpack and boxes on the bed in Susan's old room. I was tired. It was only 6 o'clock in the evening, but I wanted to sleep. I said goodnight to Fabio and went to bed. After only a short time, I heard a noise. Is someone knocking on the door? I thought. I went to the front door and opened it. But there was no one there. Then I went into the front room. Karen, Lisa, and Fabio were there. "Hello, Chris. We're playing music. Do you want to listen?" "No, thanks," I said. "I'm going to bed." I went to bed, but they didn't stop playing, and I could hear the music all night. In the end, I went to sleep. The next morning, I got up at 6 o'clock. Lisa was in the kitchen before me. "Do you want some breakfast?" she asked. She gets up early, I thought. Then she said, "Good night, Chris," and went to bed. Fabio didn't come to class that day. Perhaps he went to bed at 6 in the morning too. After class, I felt happy. I'm not going back to the backpackers, I thought. But when I arrived in my street, I could hear the girls' music. When I opened the front door, there was lots of smoke in the house. Oh no, it's a fire, I thought at first. But I was wrong. It was cigarette smoke, lots of it. I hate cigarettes. I opened all the windows and went to my room. I called Auntie Marge. "Can I come for dinner this weekend?" I asked. Every day when I came home, there was cigarette smoke everywhere. In the kitchen, there were lots of rubbish bags. And there were lots of empty wine bottles. Only I took them out. After a week of this, I was angry. I spoke to the girls. "Lisa, Karen, you girls never do any cleaning," I said angrily. "Sorry, Chris, but we can change. From tomorrow, we're going to clean every day," Karen said. "And can you play your music in the day, take the rubbish out, and stop smoking all the time?" I said. "Okay," Lisa said. The next evening, I didn't hear any music when I arrived in the street. When I opened the front door, there wasn't any cigarette smoke. I opened the kitchen door. There were no rubbish bags in front of me. I smiled. The next week was good. But then the music began at night again, and I couldn't sleep. The cigarette smoke was bad again, and the house was dirty again too. One night, I felt hungry. I went into the kitchen, but the cigarette smoke came in through the kitchen door. I closed it. And then I saw them. There, behind the door, were all the rubbish bags from that week. So Lisa and Karen didn't take the bags out. They put them behind the kitchen door, I cried. The bags had lots of maggots all over them. "I can't live with maggots," I said, and I left that night. Chapter 4. All nice and clean. 58 Birrell Street. After one more night at the Backpackers, I found Shan Wen's ad at the supermarket. I always went there to shop, and she worked there. We usually said hello. This time, I asked lots of questions when I went to see the house. "Do you have any pets?" "No," said Shan Wen. "Do you take out the rubbish every night?" "Oh yes, of course," she answered. I didn't ask about stealing things. Shan Wen was nice and her house was very clean. She doesn't steal, I thought. "Can you teach me some Chinese?" I asked. I wanted to learn Chinese because one day I wanted to visit China. "Okay," said Shan Wen. "Can I move in today?" I asked. "I'm going to think about it. Can I call you this afternoon at 3 o'clock? She said. My mobile phone rang at 1 minute to 3. "Hello," I said. Hi, Chris. It's Shan Wen here. You can move in now. I moved my things and then went to the uni pub. My friends were there. I had lots of drinks and then I got the bus to my new home. There was no uni the next day. It was a weekend, so I slept late. When I got up, it was 10 o'clock. I sat down and watched TV. I like watching different bands play on Saturday morning TV. But I couldn't hear anything because just then Shan Wen came into the room with the vacuum cleaner. How long are you going to be cleaning for? I asked. Not long, she said. After some time, she finished. Now I could hear the music again. But then she began cleaning the TV, the chairs, and the table. This time I couldn't see the TV because she was in front of it. Why are you cleaning? I asked. Because everything's dirty, she said. I don't understand her, I thought. The house is clean. There isn't any rubbish, and there aren't any maggots. What's wrong with her? I went to my room and listened to the radio there. Then my brother rang. Hi, Mike. How are you? I said. Good, mate. Listen, I'm coming to Sydney in 2 weeks. Can I stay with you? Of course you can stay. You can meet my new housemate. We can have a barbecue. The next 2 weeks went very fast. I studied a lot and I went to a pub most nights with my mates. I liked Sydney. I met my brother at the train station and we walked through the city. He loved Sydney too. When we arrived home, Shan Wen was there with the vacuum cleaner. After she finished cleaning, she went and had a shower. She had 4 or 5 showers every day. We got the meat from the kitchen for the barbecue. Then Mike told me about life in Wagga Wagga. After her shower, Shan Wen came to talk to us, but she left very quickly. She looked ill. I went after her. What's the matter? I asked. I don't like meat. Please, take it away, she said. Sorry, Mike, no barbecue tonight, I said to my brother. Mike and I went to the local pub for dinner. The next day, I said goodbye to Mike and went to dinner with Auntie Marge. She made me bangers and mash. That's Australian for sausages and potatoes. I love it, and she knows that. We had a good dinner. Auntie Marge isn't bad, I thought on the bus going home. When I arrived, Shan Wen said, Can I talk to you? She's angry about the meat, I thought. She handed me a paper and said, From tomorrow, I want you to do these things in my house. I read the paper. It said, Please clean your room every day. Please don't bring meat, beer, wine, or your friends or family into the house. Please don't watch TV when I'm cleaning. Please don't wear shoes in the house. Please don't come home after 9 o'clock in the evening. This isn't going to be easy, I thought. But I didn't want to move back to the backpackers again. Okay, Shan Wen, I said. I can do all this, I think. Oh, but perhaps it's going to be difficult for you. Perhaps you want to find a different share house, she said. Then I understood. She didn't want me to stay. Am I the problem this time? I thought. I didn't have uni the next morning, so I went to an internet cafe. There, I looked for a new share house on the internet. Chapter 5. Girlfriend and Boyfriend, 613 Fletcher Street. There were a lot of share houses in Bondi on the internet. Could I find the right one for me? Then I saw a share house ad with a photo. She's beautiful, I thought. Non-smoker, young uni student, looking for second young non-smoker uni student. Girl or guy. $150 a week. Call Sonia. 0419 546 768. We met that afternoon. Sonia asked me lots of questions, and we spoke for a long time. We talked about our uni classes and our interests. We didn't want to stop. I moved in that afternoon. I think I'm going to live here for a long time, I thought, and I put my bags on my new bed. The month went very quickly. Most days after uni, I went home to study. But I didn't do much studying. I usually ate dinner with Sonia. After dinner, we usually drank a bottle of wine, and we talked for a long time about everything. But soon, I had exams. This week, I must study a lot, I told her. Me too, she said. But that week wasn't any different. Most nights, after dinner and some wine, we wanted to talk. We didn't want to study. I liked Sonia a lot. Perhaps she likes me too, I thought. Soon, it was the last day of the first semester, June 28. It was Sonia's birthday too. I finished my last exam. It was difficult, but I did okay, I think. I went to the shops to buy Sonia a video. Life is beautiful. Then I went home to make her a birthday cake. When I heard her open the front door, I sang happy birthday. I gave her the cake, and she looked very happy. After dinner and a bottle of wine, I said, "Shall we watch this video?" I gave Life is Beautiful to her. She looked at it, but she didn't answer me. "What's the matter?" I asked. "Are you okay?" "Thank you, but I can't watch a video tonight. My boyfriend's coming home." Just then, there was a knock at the door. I couldn't move. Sonia went and opened the door. A man walked in. "Garth! Sonia!" They kissed and hugged for a long time. I went to my room. I felt angry. Why didn't she tell me about her boyfriend? I couldn't sleep. I could hear them in Sonia's room. They talked and laughed very noisily. The next morning, I was very angry, but I didn't want to talk to Sonia in front of Garth. "I'm going to buy a newspaper," Garth said from Sonia's room. Then I heard the front door open and close. I ran out of my room. "Why didn't you tell me about him? How long is he staying?" I asked very quickly. "I wanted to tell you, but he's a marine biologist. He studies whales. He's often away. He's going back up north to the Great Barrier Reef in 2 weeks." The next 2 days were bad. I talked to Garth, but he didn't answer. Sonia was very quiet too. I couldn't stay in the house with them. It was the uni holidays, so I went home to Wagga Wagga. I had a great time. I played with Jake and drank beer with my brother and my old friends. But I thought about Sonia a lot. Soon it was time to go back to Sydney. Is Garth going to be there? I thought. I opened the front door. I couldn't hear anything. Nope, nobody was home. I looked in Sonia's room. Garth's bags weren't there. I felt happy again. I made dinner for Sonia and waited. When she arrived home, she was happy to see me. We talked, ate dinner, and laughed. Soon it was past 12 o'clock at night. We were tired. "Let's go to bed," she said. "Okay, good night," I said. I went to my room. Then I stopped and thought, does she want me to go to her room? No, she's got a boyfriend. I opened my door. Her door was open. "Sonia," I called. When is Garth coming back here? In about 4 weeks, I think, she answered. Oh no, I thought. I love Sonia, but she loves Garth. Why is life always difficult for me? Good night, Sonia, I said, and I went back into my room and closed the door. I don't want to go back to the backpackers, I thought, and then I went to sleep. Chapter 6. Home Again. 263 Pitt Street. The next morning, I rang Auntie Marge. Can I stay at your house for 2 or 3 days? I said. Of course you can, Chrissy. When are you coming? I wanted to leave Sonia's house quickly before I kissed her by accident. Of course, I didn't tell Marge that. I said, Can I come now? What could I say to Sonia? In the end, I said, Goodbye, Sonia. I'm going to stay with my Auntie Marge. Sonia began crying, and she hugged me at the front door. Please stay, she said. I love you. What? What did you say? I asked her quickly. Nothing. You must go. Your auntie's waiting for you. The two of us cried then. I looked down and walked away. I didn't look back. I didn't want Sonia to see me crying. I didn't want to go to Marge's with red eyes, so I went to a cafe on the beach. I sat and thought, am I doing the right thing? Then I had a coffee and I felt better. Auntie Marge was very happy to see me. She was in the front garden when I arrived. I put my bags in my room and we had a Coke. I didn't like Marge's house. It was an old woman's house. There were dolls everywhere. She collected clocks too. They were in every room of the house. I didn't like that. We talked all afternoon. We looked at photos of my brother and me from when we were children. She told me about her life when she was young. I was a crazy hippie then, she said. Look at this. She gave me an old photo. She was in long pants with flowers on them. She was on the beach with friends, and she had something in her hand. It was a big cigarette, I think. This was a very different Auntie Marge for me. Marge made me dinner, and to finish, we ate some of her apple cake. It's famous in our family, and it was great. I slept very well in my bed at Auntie Marge's house that night. The next day after uni, I went to the uni pub with Fabio. and he talked about his holidays. I went on a surfing holiday for 10 days, and I had a great time, he said. I met people from lots of different countries. I fell in love with Mika, a girl from Japan. She lives in Brisbane, so I want to move there. Then I told Fabio about Sonia and her boyfriend Garth. Fabio said, "You did the right thing." That night, I got home late. Auntie Marge was in bed. I was very quiet, but she heard me and came out of her room. Is she going to be angry? I thought, but she wasn't. She said, "Hi, Chrissy. Your dinner's on the table." I like staying here, I thought. "Marge," I said. "Yes, Chrissy. Can my friends visit here sometimes?" "Of course," she said. "But you must do the cleaning sometimes too." "Can I drink beer?" "Are you going to give me some too?" "I love it." She laughed. Perhaps living with Marge is the best thing to do, I thought. Perhaps Auntie Marge is going to be the best housemate for me. She didn't steal, I knew that. She cleaned, but not all the time. And my friends could visit me when they wanted. We could drink beer and eat meat here too. There weren't any lizards, and Auntie Marge liked watching the cricket on TV, so I could watch it with her. I couldn't forget about the dolls, the clocks, and her calling me Chrissy all the time, but I could live with those small things. "Can I stay here for a long time?" I asked. "Of course," she said. "It can be difficult to find good housemates, I know." "Yes, very difficult." "Did you live in a share house when you were younger?" I asked. "Of course," she said. "At first, I lived with your mum, but then she fell in love with your dad and moved in with him." "Did you live with Mum? What did you do?" "I told you. We were crazy hippies. We were students at the time, but we didn't study much." She gave me a photo to look at. "And who did you live with after Mum?" I asked. "I moved into a big share house with 6 people, but I only stayed there for 3 months because the building was very old. I couldn't have a shower or make dinner there," she said. "And what did you do when you left that house?" I asked. "Then I fell in love with a young man." "Who? How did you meet him?" I asked quickly. So Auntie Marge liked men when she was younger. I didn't know that. She always said bad things about them. His name was Sam. He was from South Africa, and he was beautiful. "Were you housemates?" I asked. "Yes. I moved in with Sam and his mate Beck, but soon after I moved in, Beck moved out to Canberra. She went there to be a school teacher. She met a nice boy in Canberra, and they had lots of children." "And what happened with Sam? Did you live with him for a long time?" Well, we lived in Sydney for 2 years, but he missed his family. He wanted to go back home, she said. So he left? Yes, but I wanted to be with him, so I went with him to Durban in South Africa. I loved his family. His sister and father and I watched the cricket every day. Did you like South Africa? I asked. I loved it, but I missed Sydney. I couldn't get work in Durban, and it was very far from here, and very expensive to come back home for holidays. Did you come back to Australia alone? I asked. Yes, I did. Did I do the right thing? I don't know. Sam wanted me to stay, but she began, and then she stopped. She didn't look very happy. Do you speak with Sam these days? I asked. No, but after 25 years, I love him to this day, she said, and she looked down. I was quiet. What could I say? In the end, Marge spoke. Oh, I forgot. These are for you. She gave me some flowers and a letter. They arrived this afternoon. From me? Who are they from? I don't know, Chrissy. Read the letter. I quickly went to my room and opened it. I began reading. Hi, Chris. I'm very sorry I didn't tell you about Garth. I rang him when you left. I told him everything. I love Chris and I want to be with him, I said. Garth was very angry, and I feel bad about it. But it's true. I love you. Please, call me. Love, Sonia. I came out of my room. Who's the letter from? Asked Auntie Marge. Oh, only one of my old housemates, I said. Oh, I see. Marge, I said. Sam's important to you. You must write to him in South Africa. Perhaps you're right, Auntie Marge said, and she smiled.